ඇහුනත් නැවුම්. නැවුම් බව kills.
The 2024 presidential election to elect Sri Lanka's 9th executive president will take place in another 2 days. 17.1 million Sri Lankans are eligible to cast votes in this year's election. Voting will take place at 13,421 polling centres across the island. Polls will open at 7 a.m. on the 21st of September and will close at 4 p.m.
Do not arrive at the polling centre inebriated. This will cause your opportunity to cast your vote to be forfeited. Additionally, do not carry bags or backpacks into polling centres. Carrying mobile phones into polling centres is also prohibited. Do not attempt to congregate in groups after casting your vote, as gatherings will not be permitted.
ඡන්ද පොලක යම් කඩාකප්පල්කාරී ක්‍රියාවක් සිදු වුණොත් ඒ ඡන්ද පොලේ ඡන්ද ස්ථානාධිපතිවරයාගේ වාර්තාව
If a disruptive incident occurs at a polling centre in accordance with the recommendations of the official in charge of the said polling centre, the Election Commission will take steps to invalidate the results from that polling centre. If the results of such polling centres alter the overall results of the election, the final result of the election cannot be announced without conducting another round of polling at such centres. During counting, the votes received by each candidate will be tallied first. It will be done at the electorate and district levels. After those results are communicated to the election secretariat, will determine the overall result of the election. We will assess whether any candidate has secured over 50% of the valid votes. If so, counting of votes will cease and the relevant candidate will be announced as the president-elect. If no candidate has been able to secure more than 50% of the votes, that will necessitate the tallying of preferential votes. During the process, the two candidates who secure the most votes will remain in contention, while the remaining candidates will be removed from the contention. Then the ballots cast in favour of the remaining candidates will be considered in order of most to least votes received, and we will tally the preferential votes cast in favour of the two leading candidates. Accordingly, the candidate who has received the most votes will be announced as the president-elect.
එයින් වැඩිම ඡන්ද සංඛ්‍යාව ගත්තු අපේක්ෂකයා ජනාධිපතිවරයා වශයෙන් තෝරාපත් කරගන්නවා.
All election campaigning activities of the presidential candidates ceased at midnight yesterday. Accordingly, a period of pre-election silence will be in effect until election day. All forms of election campaigning are prohibited during this period. Meanwhile, the National Security Council convened this morning at the Presidential Secretariat, chaired by President Ranil Wickremesinghe, to discuss security arrangements for the presidential election. According to the President's Media Division, key discussions included maintaining law and order in the country on election day, safeguarding the presidential candidates, and upholding security at polling and counting centres. The Election Commission has issued recommendations on granting leave to employees for both public and private sectors in order to allow them to cast their vote. The Commission recommends granting half a day of leave if the workplace is located within 40 kilometers of the employee's designated polling center, 1 day of leave if the distance is between 40 and 100 kilometers, 1.5 days of leave for distances between 100 and 150 kilometers, and 2 days of leave if the distance is greater than 150 kilometers. The Transport Board announced that a special long-distance bus service will be in operation today and tomorrow for people travelling home to cast their votes. Meanwhile, the Railways Department announced that a special train will be in operation between Colombo Fort and Kankasanture during the election period. The train will travel from Colombo Fort to Kankasanture today and on Saturday the 21st, and it will travel from Kankasanture to Colombo Fort tomorrow and on Sunday the 22nd. The Postal Department announces that voters who have not received their official poll card to be presented at the polling centre can collect them from their local post office up until election day after presenting proof of identity.